So this is your homework that you had to do. You had to do in numbers 10 through 20. So here are your solutions. So number 10, the solution is m to the fourth over n squared. So I was just going to work that out for you really quick. First of all, we know that this is just going to be equal to 1 because it's to the 0 power. And we can go ahead. Oh, I've already done number 8. Sorry. Let's go down to number 10. Okay, so number 10, we have m squared, which is going to be m to the fourth. And then we can go ahead and get rid of that because that would just be 1. But then we're going to have n to the negative 2 power, but multiply that by negative 1, and you get n to the positive 2 power. So that gives us that answer. Now, number 11, what we're going to do here, our final answer came out to be 1 over 8 x to the 8th power y to the 4th. So I'll go ahead and work that one out for you. So what I would do first here is go ahead and multiply all of the exponents in here by negative 2. So we'll wind up with y times, and then that would be x to the positive 4 power, and then y to the positive 6 power. Okay, and so then the next thing we would do is we would have to subtract 3 from 6. And that is going to make that y cubed. Oh, okay, that would make that y cubed because you would subtract those. And then y to the first times y cubed is y to the fourth. And then the next thing we're going to do is we would have to bring this x to the fourth down to the denominator and make it a positive. So it would be x to the fourth, which would make it 1 over x to the 8th, y to the 4th would be your answer. Okay, then number 12, what we have here is we can go ahead and multiply everything in the denominator by negative 1. So that's going to make that 2 to the negative 1 power, y to the negative 1 power, and x to the positive 4 power. Okay, so then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring this 2 up to the numerator and the y up to the numerator, and then we'll bring the x to the negative 3 power down to the denominator to make it positive. So now when we combine everything, we're going to get 2 times 2 is 4, so that takes care of those. And then we're going to have y to the 4th times y is y to the 5th. And then, of course, you have just the x, because we brought this x cubed down here, if you remember. So you would just have the x in the numerator. So we're going to have 4y, or xy, to the 5th power in the numerator. And then in the denominator, we're going to have x cubed, and x to the 4th is x to the 7th power. So then the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to divide this x into this x to make it x to the 6th power, because 7 minus 1. So your final answer is going to be 4y to the 5th over x to the 6th power. Okay, moving on, we're not going to do 13. So we're going to come over here to 14. And so what we would do is multiply everything by the negative 2. So you would have u to positive 8, because negative 4 times negative 2 is positive 8. And then v to the negative 4 power. Okay, and then in our denominator, we're going to have v to the first power times v to the negative 2 power. Negative 2 plus 1 would be v to the negative 1 power. Okay, and then u to the negative 1 power. So then lastly, we'll just bring that u and v up to the numerator and the v to the negative 4 down to the denominator. So that's going to be u to the 8th, and then we'll bring up the v to the first power, and then the u to the first power, and then in our denominator, we're going to put v to the 4th power. So we just switch everybody around. So then u8 times u is going to be u to the 9th power. And then this v will cancel into this v, making it v to the 3rd power. So that would be your answer. You can see here that that worked out. Okay, and then for number 15, we can go ahead and multiply these. So we're going to have 2 to the 3rd power, which is 8. Oops, sorry. Trying to write and do the same time. 8. and then a to the 6th power. All right, so then we'll multiply those two. 2 times 8 is 16, and then a to the 6th times a to the 4th would actually be a to the 10th power, but then we have to subtract the 3 into that, and that would make it a to the 7th. And then we have the b to the 2 power, which we would bring up to the numerator, and so this would be your answer. Okay, and then 16, all of this is going to become 1, and then that will cancel out. And so now we have 2n cubed, and then 2 to the negative 3 power, and then m to the positive 12 power. Okay, so what's going to happen here is we will bring that 2 to the negative 3 power down to the denominator to make it positive. So now we have 2 and 2, and then 2 to the 3rd power, which is 8. And so 2 will go into 8 4 times. So that's where your 4 comes from. And so now we've taken care of that. And now we just have n cubed and m to the 12th, which goes in your numerator. And then number 17, we're just going to multiply the 3 by all of our exponents. So 2 to the 3rd power is 8, a to the 9th, and b to the 6th power. And then up here we have a squared, a to the 4th times 2, a to the negative 1, b to the negative 1. So what we would do here is we could bring, first of all, the 2 will go into the 8 4 times, so we could go ahead and simplify that to get the 4. And then we actually can just say, okay, here you've got that a squared plus negative 1. That would just leave us with a to the 1st power. So that take care of that. And then b4 minus 4, those two will cancel each other out. So we just have a to the 1st over 8, a 9b6. So the a to the 1st will go into a to the 9th 8 times. So you would subtract 9 minus 1. And that's 1 over 4a8b to the 6th power. Then number 18, let's just get rid of those. And then so we have 2 to the 4th power, which is 16. And then x to the 12th power. So let me just come over here and work that. 16. Okay, and then we'll have x to the negative 12th power. Okay, and then in our denominator, we're going to have y to the 4th, and then y to the negative 8th. Okay, so when we simplify these out, let's see, that should be 4. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's see. No, that's right. X to the 12th. Oh, okay, so your x to the 12th, sorry, will go into the denominator. And then we will leave the y to the 4th in the denominator and bring the y to the 8th up to the numerator. And now we just have to subtract 4 from 8 to make that y to the 4th. So your final answer is going to be 16y to the 4th over x to the 12th power. Okay, and then for number 19, here we're just going to make that a negative 2 when we multiply those, and then you could just bring that up to the numerator to make it a positive 2. So now we have nothing in the denominator. So 2 times 2 is 4, b cubed and b to the 4th would be b to the 7th, and a cubed and a squared would be a to the 5th. And then finally 20, this will just go away, and so that will become x to the 4th, y to the 16th over x cubed and y squared. And so 4 minus 3 is x1, and 16 minus 2 is x to the 14th power. Okay, that's it for the homework.